Hi, Stargazers. Arik, Xander here, and I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Gemini. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be guiding us through a new moon virtual ritual where we're going to be having a workshop and guided meditation to work on the intentions. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the new moon and what this is all about. Of course, I have my uh, Gemini essential oil blend from the astrology collection, spraying it out, creating good ambience. I suggest you do the same, especially during that new moon window, which is 24 hours before and 24 hours after the new moon, because the new moon brings a different light to the human experience, actually, because the moon, when it's new, it's not reflecting any light from the sun. So it's asking us to kind of be like finding our guidance by feeling the gravity of a situation, or kind of where are we, where do we stand, what do we want to begin anew, because we have like this blank canvas. And what's really interesting, as I wrote about for this new moon in Gemini article, which I'll put a link in the description below, is that the moon and the sun, from our perspective, when it is new, they are closer than when the moon is. It's completely opposite. That's how it's reflecting the light of the sun, unless there is an eclipse or something. Sorry for the microphone. I can't fix it, but it's gonna be fine. Anyhow, when the moon is new, that's when they're the closest. And that's what this new moon in Gemini and this whole energy that we're approaching with these 7 weeks is all about, is uniting these two luminaries, uniting yin and yang, uniting all of this to become in union, in one, right? So I really, really, really want to encourage everybody with this new moon in Gemini to contemplate these themes, because this is the new moon of commitment, where we need to have commitment in order for us to really be close to someone or close to something. Because if you really commit to a task, then you get all the energy to do it, and it is as if it's already done, which is really amazing. So without any kind of flamboyance or gossip or just like ranting off, you can accomplish this with this new moon in Gemini, to plant these positive seeds on the quantum level with your intentions, that then it's like, okay, it's done. That's how it is, and that's how it should be. Now, commitment is something that is a choice that we have to choose in every moment, no matter what. Like how I talked about in my Gemini season video, is like when we really commit to life, when we commit to tasks that we need to undertake, then we are able to really have a chance at doing it. Now, when we get triggered or get emotional or we have doubt, then we can check off like that. We just want to sign off and get out of there because it's out of our comfort zone. Now, as we've all been in self-quarantine for COVID-19, depending on which country you're in, we've been placed in situations where there's been no way out. So even though restrictions are lifting, and again, depending on which country you're in, we've sort of been forced to commit to certain situations that maybe we didn't want to be in. And I think we should really keep this energy up and going, because as I have said all over the internet, the nodes have shifted into the Gemini Sagittarius axis. So we want to keep a lot of the things that we've learned throughout the Cancer quarantine energy and bring them into that Gemini energy. Now, this new moon of commitment is then when we are asked to really become true and committed to our choices, to really stand behind our choices. And even if we were wrong or if we changed our mind, we shouldn't come from a place of like running or non-commitment, but really to commit to our choices. And that doesn't say that we won't change our mind, but to stick with it, because it's like magnetism, because then we have that energy and then nothing can stop it. And it's also this balance between being committed and being stubbornly attached. You don't want that either, because that's that energy of Taurus. You want the commitment, which is lighter and has a choice, not the stubborn attachment that has no choice and it's just, pushing onto it no matter what. Now, a lot of people struggle with choices and the consequences of choices. Why is that? Because no one wants to deal with the consequences of their choices. They want to make the choice and they want it to be the right choice. And we many times try to weasel our way out of the awareness, of the choices, and we don't want to look at these things. But really, there's so much to be learned there when we're understanding the power of our choices. And sometimes I can see that, we punish ourselves because we didn't make the right choice. But really, there are parts of us that like to punish ourselves. And then we get pushed in this circuit where then we don't want to make choices. We want other people to make choices for us. And then we don't have to commit. And then we want people to commit to us. And it just all becomes like this one-way street. And then, of course, we lose any kind of ability to love, because the whole energy of Gemini is about love. It's the lover's archetype from the tarot. And then there's many different repercussions from this as well. Now, when we get to this point, what happens is that we become easily seduced by memes of self-love. And self-love is actually most of the time a trap. It's something that the ego wants because it wants praise. It confuses love for praise. And self-love is actually it's a given. It's not something that you should strive for, because what we should really be working on before we work on self-love, which could just be narcissism in disguise, is self-responsibility. Self-responsibility, meaning I take responsibility for my choices, I take responsibility for my actions, I take responsibility for my consequences. Why? Well, of course, I love myself. That's already a given. I don't need to refuel on my love because it's there, because I do have love for myself or compassion for myself. Objective or subjective, which is the difference, right? There is a difference. And you should have both. Then I can take responsibility because I have esteem, I have confidence. So self-love, the idea of self-love can really just be narcissism that's repackaged, right? It's repackaged in narcissism that the ego will buy like that. Sign me up for the self-love seminar, sign me up for the self-love talk. I'll do all of it because of course I want to love myself. I want to be in love with myself. This is the ego. But I mean, of course you can have self-love, like authentic love. Yeah, I love myself. I don't make a big deal out of it. It's not something I need to gather, because if you don't have self-love, or if you are seeking self-love, what that basically means is that you have self-hatred. And that's a really sad thing, and that's something that can be healed. But self-hatred, again, is these punishment circuits that we have going on within us. And these things really need to be addressed. So it's more about, how do you heal self-hatred? With self-responsibility, with self-awareness, learning about who you are and not having any conditions about it, and having the compassion about it as well. And really also knowing that learning from mistakes, learning from past experiences, this is all really important. And only then can we cultivate and express and share the love from within. And that's what this new moon in Gemini, the whole energy of Gemini, is all about. Cultivating that love and then spreading it, communicating, talking about it, really getting the community and everybody else to share and get in on that love. But of course you need the commitment, and it's really only the narcissist that is vulnerable to these sales of self-love and spirituality and self-development. So on the new moon of Gemini, we are offered the opportunity to really commit to our choices, commit to self-respect, commit to the consequences, to commit to self-responsibility, and to heal the self-hatred. And as you know, as I developed these new moon, full moon, and sun meditations, we're being asked a question. And the question for this new moon in Gemini is, do I make my choices, or are my decisions actually made with a way out in mind? Are my decisions made with the way out in mind? And really think about this during that new moon window, which is 24 hours before the new moon, 24 hours after the new moon. And it's going to really bring up a lot of insights and epiphanies. And if you want to go deeper with this, sign up for my virtual ritual, because then you can get a good energetic perspective about what's going on and how to really cultivate this energy of self-respect and self-awareness, and to release this self-hatred. And then self-love is a given. It's not something that you need to seek or to avoid. Now, something else I want to mention, just with the astrology of what's going on here, the new moon, it's going to be making an aspect to Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde. So it's about really slowing down, okay? Moon in Gemini wants to be very quick, but the aspect with Saturn says, let's just slow down a little bit, not be so impulsive with our choices, and really make a choice that's aligned with who we are within us, and to also remember the lessons that we've learned in regards to groups, and to regards to humanity, and to regards of the world, so that then we can be patient with ourselves, we can be patient with others, and then really make a choice that we can really commit to. So really, it's about remembering the lessons that we've learned, all of us as a collective, and then really committing to those decisions. So that's a really powerful aspect that's going to happen here with the new moon in Gemini. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Now I'm going to get into how the new moon is affecting each sign, and then after that we are going to be getting into the virtual ritual, where we're going to be doing the workshop part, and then we're also going to be going into the guided meditation. All right, so let me just pull up the charts here. Let's just have a look and see what's going on for the different signs. And I want to begin with Gemini for this new moon. So it's about committing to choices and making decisions with a way out in mind, of course. So this new moon has all about to do about yourself, and also learning your education. So again, that's about the self and your education, and seeing how you're going to take what you've learned and apply it to your day in, day out life, and how you're going to apply it to your identity, and really allowing yourself to learn more. Because there's so many planets in your sign right now, Gemini, with this new moon. So it's about really thinking in a new way, loving in a new way, feeling things in a new way. But at the same time, it's like you don't want to completely forget everything that you've learned, but to apply everything that you've learned. And then Cancer, this new moon is actually bringing up a lot of subconscious thoughts that you have about things that you don't see. Also, it's about learning about the consequences of your actions, because you like to take action. Of course, you're the cardinal water sign. So really be patient, be slow, and allow things to resolve themselves. Don't get impatient about things if you don't think that they're moving, because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. Leo, this is a really positive time for groups. It's also, you need to really be careful about who you share what with. You want to be spreading love, keeping your heart open, and also remembering your lessons about your relationships, like your intimate relationships, so that you can apply similar principles in your group relationships, like with people that you're networking with, and friends. Okay. And then Virgo, there's a lot of activity going on at work, actually. So this is really good for career. Really just hunker down, do your work. This is really a powerful time for you to manifest, to also mold and also to take care of yourself. Some breathing exercises. So take care of yourself, do breathing exercises, stay humble, which is, quite easy for you. And yeah, just there's a lot of activity going on at work. So really do as many things as you can. It's going to be very fruitful, and really commit to the choices that you make in regards to work and in regards to the people that you work with. Libra. So there is a lot of, you're going to need some kind of physical outlet. This is very important, but also an outlet for your creativity and your ability to love. And let me put it this way, things that you knew about before are getting like a new recontextualization, a new perspective, as it has to do with life. You're starting to see what matters, what's trivial, and really start to apply these things and not just theorize about them, although you might theorize about them first, which is good to organize, and then to really make a decision and not with the way out. Scorpio, this is an intense time of transformation for you for this new moon. And there are some big things going on with home, with the roots, also with your, where you're coming from. So really apply these lessons as it also relates to your relationship to the world at large, and really make these choices to really build and commit to, the partner, the relationship themes that you learned from last month. You want to apply them now throughout this month. And then Sagittarius, this is all about relationships, and it's all about really using your words wisely, also kind of bestowing wisdom onto others, not just talking recklessly, but really allowing yourself to express things that you know about your community, but in a way that's going to help others and inspire others, and to bring optimism into the world, and not just, more of the same old news, like, offering a different perspective to people. So definitely do that. And yeah, it's just like there's a lot of focus on relationships. So find some tact in that and really commit to relationships, which I know is really hard for you, but it'll be worth it. And then Capricorn, let's see what's going on in Capricorn. So there's a lot of work. Also, there is some worry about money, but then that's like, of course, the worry about the economy. I would probably, just kind of try to see the positive, manifest energy and build, and also hunker down, take care of your health. This is very important, but also see how you can be of the best service to others spiritually, emotionally, physically, materially, like really allowing yourself to open up and to share your wisdom about how to organize money, how to organize your possessions, just kind of giving some tips to others, because you're going to want to share that. And also just committing to whatever project you have going on, really commit to it without any way out in mind throughout this lunar cycle. Aquarius, there are some things about yourself that you're learning. You're also really enjoying life, and you have a lot of energy for life, like recreation. You probably are getting the travel bug really bad, but you got to take it easy. So travel within, get to know yourself more, becoming intimate and committing to people. This is also something that is very a big lesson for you, but it's very rewarding because you want to really be connected to people. So it's really about loving life, committing to life, and bringing the best version of yourself to others, and showing this version of yourself to others in love, however that looks for you. And then what's going on with Pisces is you might be a little bit emotional actually with this new moon. There's a lot of emotions going on. So it's really about meditation is going to be very important, staying true to your understanding, but also being open to new understandings, being connected to your home and to your community as things are starting to open up. But really just there's a lot of lessons coming from the ether. There's a lot of lessons to be learned about the parts of your ego that you tend to suppress. So really stay aware of that. Otherwise, there's some good energy to build, beginning with the home throughout this lunar cycle. And then we have Aries. This is a time where this new moon has a lot to do with your thinking processes, being connected to your community, but also having discipline and remembering the lessons that you've learned with your friends, okay? Before you're like, being unleashed into the community, knowing that, your independent nature allows you to kind of pick and choose, but then you want to, stay true to your choices and then really see things through and follow through on them, and not just be like a firework that blows out, but like be a constant flame for yourself and for others. And finally, Taurus, this new moon is actually very much connected to how you handle your financial situation, and also with work and career. So you want to really allow yourself to also build and to find a new perspective on an issue that you're dealing with, and really allow yourself to be lighter with your situation, because when you're lighter, you make room, and then when you have room, you can bring in good energy, and then miracles can happen beyond what you ever anticipated or expected. So that was the forecast for all 12 signs. Again, if you have any questions about that, please leave them in the comments below. And now we're going to get into the guided meditation and workshop.